It was a sunny Sunday afternoon in downtown Cleveland. Shoppers passed by. Business signs flickered in the glass towers. But at 1:17 p.m., everything stopped. Because on the sidewalk outside 75 Erie View Plaza, a woman collapsed in a pool of blood. She had been stabbed, not once, not twice, but 11 times. Her name was Aliza Sherman, a 53-year-old nurse, a mother of 4, and a woman just days away from finalizing a painful divorce. Police arrived to find her bleeding out just steps from her attorney's office, but the killer had vanished without a trace. No robbery. No motive. Just silence. It would become one of the most haunting cold cases in Ohio history. But now, 12 years later, police have done the unthinkable. They've arrested Gregory Moore, Aliza's very own divorce attorney. The man she trusted to protect her is now accused of orchestrating her brutal murder. This is a story of betrayal, control, and the terrifying truth that sometimes your killer is the one you trusted the most. Aliza was not just a name on a case file. She was a pillar of her community. Born and raised in Cleveland, she worked for more than 3 decades as a registered nurse at the Cleveland Clinic, where colleagues describe her as gentle, focused, and compassionate. She wasn't wealthy. She wasn't famous. But she was everything to the people who knew her. She was a devoted mother of 4. A quiet presence in her local synagogue. A woman known for never raising her voice, even when her own life was falling apart behind closed doors. Because for years, Aliza had lived in what her daughter later described as a controlling and toxic marriage to prominent physician Dr. Sanford Sherman. According to court filings, she endured emotional abuse and manipulation for decades, until she finally said, "Enough." In 2012, she filed for divorce. And that's when her real nightmare began. My mom just wanted freedom. She wanted peace. She was finally standing up for herself. Jennifer Sherman, her daughter. It was March 24, 2013. Just one day before Aliza was scheduled to appear in court to finalize her divorce. Gregory Moore, her attorney, had called her earlier that week and asked her to come to his office on a Sunday. That alone raised eyebrows. Law offices don't operate on Sundays. But Aliza agreed. She just wanted to get this done. Security cameras from 75 Erie View Plaza show Aliza entering the building's lobby just after 1 p.m. She's alone. Carrying a folder. Minutes later, another figure appears. Hoodie pulled low, face obscured. The figure follows Aliza's path, then disappears from view. At 1:17 p.m., a 911 call is placed. Aliza is found collapsed near the entrance, bleeding profusely from 11 stab wounds, most of them to her back. Whoever attacked her knew where to strike, and wanted her dead. There were no witnesses. No one heard screaming. No personal items were taken. Her purse, her jewelry, all untouched. It was not a mugging. This was an ambush. Let's start with the victim again, Aliza Sherman. A kind woman, trapped in a bitter divorce. She trusted one man to represent her, Gregory Moore, a Cleveland-based attorney with a reputation for being unconventional. But no one realized just how dangerous he really was. In 2025, Moore was indicted on charges of aggravated murder, kidnapping, and conspiracy to commit murder. He's not just a suspect. Prosecutors say he orchestrated the entire attack. Moore had a history of bizarre and criminal behavior. Court records revealed he had once made bomb threats to delay legal proceedings. A man who saw the justice system as something to be manipulated. And in Aliza's case, something to be evaded entirely. Aliza's estranged husband was never charged, but his behavior raised suspicion from day one. After her murder, he refused to cooperate with police and lawyer up. Why? According to investigators, Aliza had planned to testify about his abusive behavior in court. The divorce would have exposed his finances and reputation. He had everything to lose. He died in July 2024, over a decade after Aliza's murder, having never answered a single question. Aliza's daughter Jennifer became the public voice for justice. She formed the Aliza Sherman Fund and worked tirelessly with law enforcement and advocates to reopen the case. Her persistence is part of why we're here today. Gregory Moore told police he hadn't spoken to Aliza in days. He said he was out of town and unaware she was even coming to the office that day. But cell records said otherwise. Investigators discovered multiple phone calls between Moore and Aliza that very morning. Texts encouraging her to meet at the office. Surveillance footage showed Moore's office window blinds were closed that day, unusual for a weekend. Cell tower pings placed him in the vicinity during the murder. And then came the final crack. Forensic techs retrieved deleted communications from Moore's phone. He had instructed Aliza to come. He knew. And he lied. This wasn't negligence. It was premeditation. This wasn't about losing a case. It was about losing control. Moore's ego couldn't survive Aliza walking away. What happens when justice is delayed? For Aliza's family, it meant 12 years of silence. 12 years of birthdays, holidays, anniversaries, all without answers. Jennifer Sherman said she would dream about her mother's final moments. She described the trauma of knowing your mother was murdered in broad daylight with no arrests, no motive, and no one taking responsibility. Aliza's co-workers at Cleveland Clinic held annual candlelight vigils. They remembered her as the calm during chaos, someone who held lives together in ER trauma rooms. The Cleveland Jewish community mourned her loss. They feared a killer was still walking free, and he was. Because the man responsible was still practicing law, right there in the city. In 2021, the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation officially reopened the case. They weren't starting from scratch. They had video footage, phone records, and a trail of inconsistencies. What they needed was time and technology, and both were now on their side. With the help of the FBI, digital forensics unearthed previously unrecovered call logs, surveillance enhancements, cell tower triangulation data from new analysis tools. They found that Moore had intentionally misled investigators, deleted messages, and concealed his proximity. In April 2025, he was tracked down and arrested in Texas, where he'd moved after dissolving his law practice. He ran, but he couldn't outrun the digital footprints. He thought the case was dead. But justice doesn't expire. In May 2025, Gregory Moore was officially indicted on aggravated murder, kidnapping, conspiracy to commit murder. Each charge carries significant prison time, including life without parole or potentially capital punishment under Ohio law. His arraignment is scheduled for May 16, 2025. Prosecutors are confident. Their case is built not just on circumstantial evidence, but digital timelines, phone records, and premeditated deception. He's currently being held without bond in Cuyahoga County Jail. Why would a lawyer kill his own client? Prosecutors believe Moore feared that Aliza would testify against him in a bar complaint, reveal that he was mismanaging her case or finances, embarrass him professionally. He had also shown a long-standing pattern of avoiding legal consequences, including filing fake bomb threats to delay proceedings. Moore was a man driven not by money, but by control. And when Aliza threatened that control, he made a decision. If I can't win this case, I'll erase it. The indictment brings answers, but also raises new questions. Who was the hooded accomplice caught on surveillance? Police believe Moore may not have acted alone. Why did Sanford Sherman refuse to talk? Was he merely protecting himself, or was he involved? Could there be other victims of Moore's manipulation? The case is still developing. For 12 years, the Sherman family waited. They buried their mother. They held vigils. They heard nothing. Now, for the first time, they may see justice. Jennifer Sherman told reporters, "He thought he got away with it. But we never stopped fighting. My mom's voice will be heard." The Aliza Sherman Fund continues to support domestic abuse survivors, women in divorce court, and cold case families. Her life mattered. Her story is being told. And her killer, if convicted, will finally pay. But what if Aliza wasn't the only one? Coming next, the disturbing history of Gregory Moore, and how many other women may have suffered under his legal manipulation.